Did the smartest thing I ever did. I went online and I typed in, how do I make money online? It was like a whole new world. And then I believed in myself. I was like, yo, I could do anything. How I made my first $1 million at 21 was selling women product.
What product?
The reason why I left my Costco job and started working with my friend with the insurance firm was because he was starting a new business. We just got on the calls, and that month we did like 50 grand. So now we was like, oh, we're about to go crazy. When we was in the room, all these people was making like, all of them was making like about 10 million a year.
Hello, my name is Ivy Prosper and I tell stories from Africa and the African diaspora. Today I have a guest who is in town and made some time to be on the show today. He is a young entrepreneur. His name is Boniface Ogunti, originally from Liberia and is living in the US. And he is here to share his story on how he has become a successful entrepreneur. Boniface.
Yeah.
Welcome to Ghana.
Thank you.
I know it's not your first time here.
It's not my first time. I actually I stayed in Ghana when I was like when I just turned, I was like 2 to like 3 years old. Like, I think I was like 1 to 3. Because I came here from Liberia. Because there was a war in Liberia at the time when I was born.
Yeah.
So when we was born, the whole war was going on. Then I got birth in Ivory Coast. Then we came here from on the refugee Booty Brown camp.
Okay, yeah, because there's a lot of Liberian refugees who came to Ghana, and there's like a whole area where a lot of Liberians live even today.
Yeah. And it's so crazy because as I walk around in like Ghana here, I be meeting people who's Liberian just because of their accent. And I'm like, oh, wow, that person's Liberian. Like, it's like you spot each one of them out. It's like, oh, wow, there's a lot of Liberians in Ghana.
Yeah. And the Liberian women have a talent. The way that they braid is different than the way that Ghanaian women braid.
Really?
Yeah, there's a type of braid when you're doing like the cornrows.
Yeah.
There's a style that they do that's it looks different.
Yeah.
So you have to like find them. Be like, oh, you have to go to where the Liberian ladies are behind the petrol station. But so you lived here for a short time, and from then, that short period of living here, where did you go after that?
So we actually went to New York. I was in New York for about 6 months. Then after, my parents went to Minnesota. And then I was in Minnesota until I turned like 19 years old.
Okay.
Then I
Minnesota.
moved. Yeah.
Wow. How was that?
Cold. Like Canada.
Well, Minnesota's worse than Canada.
For real?
People will sit here and talk about Canada's cold, but I'm telling you, Minnesota gets really bad winters.
What?
Really. Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, Maine, Vermont, all those places get really bad.
Canada's higher above.
And Ohio and Michigan, upper Michigan, they get some really bad winters too.
Wow, I would think that Canada winter would be worse because they're higher up.
It's just as bad. So depends on where you are in Canada, because people think that Canada is this monolith. It's just like America. America's not a monolith. You have the southern states where it's summer for a lot of the year, right? Like California, Florida, Texas, they have hot weather most of the year.
Yeah.
And the north is not like that. Like New York is not going to be like Florida all year long. In Canada, the southern part of Canada is where most people live.
Wow.
The winters aren't as bad as if you lived like close to the Arctic, which hardly anybody lives up there, but there are people there.
Wow.
But that part is very cold.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane. Like, I've actually never been to Canada before.
I'm so surprised.
The farthest I've got to Canada was what's that place called? Michigan.
When you get to Detroit.
Detroit. They have like this bridge right there.
The Ambassador Bridge.
Yeah.
Drives across to Canada.
Yeah. That's the farthest I've ever went. I went to a restaurant there, and then after I just was like, hey, let's go, and I just went.
Yeah. I mean, you can see Canada across the river.
You can literally see it across the river, yeah.
They actually have, I used to live in Detroit, and I also lived in Windsor at a point. And they have this thing that they did when I was there. They did these fireworks, and they call them the only international fireworks because it's fireworks between two countries, right?
Wow.
So it was kind of cool over the Detroit River.
That's amazing, but I got to go check out those fireworks.
Yeah. So Boniface, you reached out, and I've seen some of the work that you've done. So we're going to dig into your story. You're an African who lived in America, and you've somehow found a way to build a business for yourself.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what you do for those who've never seen you on my platform.
Okay, so pretty much like what I do that have got me to this level, or like what I currently do for a living.
What do you currently do first?
Okay.
What do you do?
So I own a consulting firm that pretty much educates people on how to basically start different businesses, and I also do real estate.
Okay. And how did you get to be doing that?
So how I started my consulting firm pretty much started when I was in Minnesota. So a lot of my age group people, like, cause I used to play basketball, a lot of my friends was like curious about like creating wealth when I was younger, and we all pretty much was starting different things. Like some people was doing blogging, some people was doing like fixing shoes, and some people were working at a warehouse job, you know? So it was all trying, and some people were selling cars and flipping phones on Craigslist and these different offer ups and these different apps in Minnesota. So all my friends was doing that. And then me as a couple, it was one of my friends, he was Somalian. He was the first one who started like trying to do the internet thing. So he started a blog.
Okay.
So he was like super smart. So he started this blog and he was doing like 30 grand a month.
$30,000 a month on a blog.
Writing articles.
Was he doing like celebrity gossip? Because usually
Yeah,
the
like
celebrity
that. It was
gossip
basically
ones, they get a lot
celebrity gossip. Yeah. What he did, he had
traffic.
like a team, like basically like a blog where it was just going over, it's like TMZ, but it was like a shade room.
Okay.
And back then, like AdSense was very high, and because people read more. So now people don't read as much.
Yeah.
They are watching videos, listening to podcasts and things like that. So back then, all the traffic was going into the articles. So what he did, he made a blog where it just go over different celebrities and things like that. Then he had it on Google and it was ranked very high. And based off that, he was able to accumulate like 30 grand a month. So he showed me that at Applebee's. It's like this restaurant.
You were working at Applebee's?
No, I wasn't. He was like, hey, come to Applebee's.
Oh, okay, you met there. Okay.
Yeah, I was actually working at Costco.
Okay.
Yeah, I was working at Costco at the time. So he was like, hey, come to Applebee's, bro. I want to show you what I'm doing, you know, because he kind of looked up to me because it's not like I was successful too, though. Like I was doing, because I always had like a leadership mentality. So like I had like a leadership role at Costco. So, and because of that, even when I was in high school, I was really good at basketball, and he looked up to me like that. So pretty much he was like, hey Bonnie, come to Applebee's. Let me show you what I've been working on. I know you've been at Costco, you've been doing your thing. I see you online. So then after I saw him doing it, and I was like, yo. So, and it was like crazy. And I was like, oh, wow. I never thought, like, you know, growing up, like reaching a certain level of income was like, if you get to $100,000 a year, you're good. That was like the whole mind frame that I grew up with from like just starting out. It was like, hey, go to school, get a job, and then try to get this corporate job that would make $100,000 a year. So when I was at Costco, my whole goal was I'm going to be at Costco here until I work my way up to make $100,000 a year. So, but when I seen that, I was like, oh my goodness. And then first, like, cause I wasn't the best speller.
You were the best speller.
Like speller, because like, you know, when you're writing articles,
Yeah.
ChatGPT didn't exist at the time. So you couldn't just go on ChatGPT and write an article about some celebrities and things like that and set up some prompts. It didn't exist. So you had to actually be able to write good articles and be able to communicate so people can read your articles too. So I was like, yo, bro, I don't think I can do this. So I kind of told him that. I was like, I don't think I can do this.
But there's spell check.
There wasn't no spell check back then.
Yes.
Grammarly didn't exist.
There was spell check. There's always spell check.
2012,
How do you think
2013?
How do you think we wrote things before 2013? Do you think people weren't born? People weren't doing things?
People were super smart.
Let's use typewriters even back in the day.
I didn't know that, but so there was spell check with those?
No, we had to use our minds with those.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is Microsoft Word has spell check?
Back in 2012?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You are young.
Yeah,
you
I
are
wasn't
young.
as tech savvy as I am now, you know? I wasn't like tech savvy at all. So when he showed me that, I was like, yo, I can't do this. But that gave me, that like made me realize that damn, people are making money online.
Yeah.
So then what ended up happening was that one of my friend, we had like a partnership together in Costco, because I used to sell DirecTV, and then he used to work for Comcast. It was like an internet company.
Yeah, I know Comcast, the communications company.
Yeah. So pretty much he was like, yo, Bonnie, anybody that buys your DirecTV, I'll give you a commission if you can just send their application to me, and I'll close them on Comcast so they can get internet. So me and him started making some money together. Then he got inspired too from watching a guy talking about funnels.
Yeah. The
The
ClickFunnels.
ClickFunnels with Russell Brunson and all these guys. So he
Yeah.
got super inspired. And he was like, he bought this course on like creating lead gen funnels and stuff like that because he was trying to get leads for his insurance, for his firm. So I was like, let me get the course. So pretty much he was like, yo, I'm gonna get, because I was super like motivated, right? So he was like, yo, Bonnie, I got this course. Let's watch it together. So I started watching the course. And then after, what ended up happening was I met this other guy. He was like, he was doing insurance. He was like, and he was making like 15 grand a month doing insurance. So I was like, how are you doing this? Because he was sharp. Like me, I was sharp. Because I used to wear tailor suits in Costco and every single thing when I worked at Costco. So when I saw him, I was like, yo, bro, what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
So then after I seen that he was actually doing insurance, so at the time, the internet business, I didn't know what internet business I wanted to do. So when my friend gave me like this course on like building funnels and things like that, and me and him started watching this course together, I kind of neglected the program. So, but then because I was so used to like making money in person, like trying to like, I was so used
Trading
to
your
people,
time
trading
for
my
the-
time for money,
Yeah.
and I wasn't really used to the new way that was coming about. So then I left my Costco job. The reason why I left my Costco job and started working with my friend with the insurance firm was because he was starting a new business. And then I believed in myself. I was like, yo, I could do anything. So he was like, I'm starting this new business, bro. Come do it with me. Let's be a partner. So I literally left the job. I got my insurance license. And after I started working with him, then what ended up happening, another person came to the insurance firm and was like, all these kids are making money online. And the insurance firm that I was working with wasn't doing as good as the time. And all my savings that I got from Costco, I was literally trying to use it to build up this insurance company with my friend.
Okay. So you had to put money into the insurance company.
Yeah, so it was a new company that
Okay.
me and my friend was pretty much starting selling car insurance
Okay.
and just different type of insurance. But we had our own facility where people would come in and we had to pay rent and things like that. So
Okay.
we was pretty much spending money on that, trying to get that up and going.
Okay.
For like hiring different HR
Okay.
people and things like that. So yeah, so pretty much then what ended up happening was that this guy came and he was like, hey, all these kids are making money online. And at the time, it was like, hey, I needed to do something because I just left my Costco job that was paying me good. And now I'm here because I'm trying to build my own business with my friend. So I'm like, I got to figure something out. So I did the smartest thing I ever did. I went online and I typed in, how do I make money online? It was like a whole new world. Like, I was like, what is this? I started seeing all these different people talking about Facebook ads, Shopify, blogging, JVZoo, just affiliate marketing, SEO, and I was like, wait, what? This is a different way to actually make an income. So then what ended up happening was that I started researching a lot. I stayed home, and as I stayed home, because I was like, yo, over the weekend, I just stayed home and just watched a whole bunch of videos. And I bumped into a lot of different coaches who was online. And I started watching this guy, the first guy, because he was running a lot of ads at the time.
Who?
It was Adrian Morrison.
Okay.
Adrian Morrison, he was making like 250 grand a month selling tires as an affiliate marketer. Like pretty much he had this site where pretty much people go to the site and buy tires online.
So were the tires wholesale or just like?
It was just retail price.
Okay.
But he was selling it for a good price that was discounted tires that he would be able to send to people. So pretty much he was killing it. And then after I started watching his story, but he said he stopped doing that because he wasn't building like an email list and he wasn't building his own customer list, because when he was sending traffic directly to the tires company, they was keeping all the customer base. But he started this business called Shopify, where they pretty much sell products online by doing drop shipping.
So he started doing a business on Shopify.
Yeah,
he's not the one who started Shopify.
Yeah, he started doing a business on Shopify.
Okay.
So which he was drop shipping products and he
Right.
was drop shipping accessories. He was pretty much look for high value, high perceived value products and sell those and use different methods, different buying methods like buy one, get one free, free plus shipping. So he was doing all these different buying methods and he was just killing it with Facebook ads. And then after, it inspired me because he was like, oh, you can start with like $200 and you can start with like $5 a day on ads. And this back then, like around 2013, 2014, ads was cheap.
Yeah, they're expensive now.
Yeah, but not it's not. Actually, the price has went back down a
Has
little
it?
bit. Yeah,
Okay.
it definitely has went back down.
Okay.
But that time, like you could spend like I was like if I spent $80, I would make like $700
What
in
were you
sales.
selling?
So basically, I was just modeling after what he was teaching me.
Okay.
At the time, because I was just in his program.
Okay.
So he was just teaching me different things like, hey, sell woman product. The how I made my first $1 million at 21 was selling woman product.
What product?
So the women buy slippers a lot.
Like house slippers?
No, like
Or like the flip-flops kind of
flip-flops, but they love
slide, the
women love
slides.
And then social media is all about eye catching. If you can get people attention, you'll be able to like make that content go viral or whatever, right? So pretty much I was selling these slippers. It was very like crystal and things like that. And I had this girl pretty much modeling and things like that. And then after it just went insane. And then after we ran it with Facebook ads and we just saw a lot of it. So I saw a lot of heels and a lot of slippers and a lot of accessories. Because women buy accessories a lot and accessories has high perceived value. Like I used to like pretty much I would sell like a accessory on like a necklace. It will say love, right? So or I'll sell like a partnership necklace, and that's a lot of buying strategy that we used to do, where we would have like his and hers,
Okay.
like his and hers necklace.
Yeah.
And we'll get it from AliExpress, and this was like the wholesale platform that was using. We'll get it from AliExpress and pretty much post it on our store. Probably we'll get it from AliExpress for like $2, $1, including shipping with ePacket. So China has this shipping company called like ePacket shipping where it can ship internationally within 7 to 14 days. So we'll use ePacket shipping to ship it to people for like $2. And then after we can sell that for $60. Because people don't know the value of like necklaces. They don't, it has necklaces and things has a huge perceived value. So you can sell it for so much. So I was doing that for a while. I made my first million selling the slippers and selling women products online. And then what ended up happening, I had to switch because what ended up happening was as you start to make a lot of sales online, being able to manage like inventory is very hard. So I started to realize that e-commerce couldn't really handle my ambition. Like I have a lot of successful friends who do e-commerce and they're still very successful at e-commerce. Like I have a friend, he did $30 million last year with e-commerce. So like, I'm not knocking e-commerce like it's some bad business or things like that. Like you can't skill it to a high level. You definitely can.
So you stopped doing it because you said managing the inventory was an issue.
Yeah, and then the profit margin was so thin. Like because when you're spending money on ads and then like the profit margin was like 10%, 20% profit margin. And then all the remaining is going into inventory costs, ad costs. There's so much money going into that. So it's like, nah, I didn't want to do that anymore. So what ended up happening was how I switched from e-commerce to consulting was I met this guy named Ty Lopez.
I've seen his videos. I've seen his ads pop up a lot over the year. I would say over the last decade, I see his ads pop up every so often on Instagram and on Facebook.
Yep, I was actually just with him. So with Ty, I saw Ty online. He was like, here in my garage. And then I was like, who's this guy? And I wanted a Lamborghini, so I seen him post this here in my garage video. Then I was like, yo, let me check out his course. So he had this social media marketing course. I bought the course and got into the course, started to do my own social media marketing agency because I already knew how to run ads. So I've already made over $1 million doing e-commerce and I knew how to run ads for people. So he was like, hey, you can run ads for businesses and charge them like $2,000 a month. And then you get X amount of clients. Now you're making whatever income that you want to make. So I bought his course, started doing social media marketing for some clients. It did very well, but then I wanted to get back to the level that I was on because when you're doing social media, at the time, I didn't know how to scale an agency. So I didn't know how to scale an agency. So I was like, I wanted to get back to doing over 200, 300K a month with not doing nothing. Because with e-commerce, it's just you spending money on ads and the ads are making money for you and you're not really doing anything and just chilling. You just communicating with the vendors in China and they're doing all the things, but just your profit margin is so thin. So I wanted to give back to that automated income because with an agency, you're dealing with people. You're dealing with like clients, you're having to get on call with clients and things like that. So I didn't want to do my agency anymore. So then what ended up happening was Ty had a friend. His name was Sam Ovens. So Sam Ovens had this website, had this consulting platform called consulting.com. So consulting.com was like this company that sold for over 100 million. So what ended up happening was Ty invited me to his house in Beverly Hills. This was around 2015, 2016. So Ty invited me to his house in Beverly Hills. He was like, hey, come to my house, because I was already doing well. He was like, I want you to teach him my course. So I went, I taught in his course, in his e-commerce course, on how to like do e-commerce businesses and things like that. But then I started seeing Ty then was doing over $1 million in less than like a week, just doing digital products. So
What kind of digital products?
Courses, like his course he was selling was on social media marketing. So I started seeing him doing that. I was like, oh my God, I got to do this. Because then he was telling me how like he don't even spend money on like the fulfillment, because after he created the content, it's just the content that he's selling, and he just have staff that does a lot of the Q&A to service the clients. I was like, oh wow, because with e-commerce, I had to do a lot. I had to pay for products. I had to make sure the labels, I'm worried about all this different things that's going on. But when I saw him that he was still hitting that income threshold that everybody dreamed of hitting, like, and he wasn't doing a lot, it got me inspired. And I was like, yo, Ty selling courses, I can do it. Cause I already had like a platform. I had like around the time, I had like 50,000 followers, around 20,000, 50,000 followers. And then I was people was, and I used to post like all my sales I was making with my e-commerce store. And like, I never used to teach people how to do it, but I just used to post it to like inspire people. Like I'll be traveling in Miami and I'll post it with my book. And, you know, I'm like, hey, this is how much I made on my store today. And then pretty much I saw Ty doing that and I was like, yo, I'm about to do it. Then he was like, the person you need to talk to is Sam Ovens. So I was like, who's Sam? So I Googled this. I pretty much went on YouTube and I saw his ads. But the funny thing about it, my friend already bought Sam's course. One of my friends, Seth was like, I bought Consulting Accelerator. That was like his beginner program. It was called Consulting Accelerator. So Seth bought Sam's course. And then Seth was like, yo, this is the course I said we should watch so we can do the digital products. So I was like, oh, this is the course? And he was like, yeah, bro, this is the guy. He was doing $20 million a year. And he was like 28. So he was like, yeah, this is Sam, bro. This is the guy who I said we should buy his course. So boom, I left Beverly Hills, went back to Minnesota. I just got locked in. Me and Seth got locked in on the course, started setting up every single thing on setting up our consulting business. And then after he showed up different type of funnel strategies like VSL funnel. So we launched our
VSL funnel. What is that?
It stands for video sales letter.
Okay.
So it's like just a short video where you like have a funnel page where it goes over like what you offer, like it goes over your story, what you offer and things like that. Then people can book a call with you and set up a strategy session. So pretty much we launched this funnel and then I already had like some type of following. So when I launched the funnel, I was like, hey guys, book a call with me if you want to learn how to set up your own e-commerce business. And then boom, we had like probably like 500 people book a call with us in like a week period. Like, and we left our calendar. It was like, oh, this actually worked. So now this was our first time actually going online and having people book strategy sessions with us because we never did it before. We didn't know people would book strategy sessions. So now we just got on the calls, and that month we did like 50 grand. So now we was like, oh, we're about to go crazy.
And so what were you teaching? What kind of strategies were you teaching these people?
So just basically everything that I learned with e-commerce. So his course, Sam's course, was all about take what you have learned that you have been successful with and package it and sell it to people. So pretty much that's all we did. We pretty much took everything that we learned and then we just made a course, and it was so ghetto. Like it wasn't even like the best course, but we just got started. It was Google, but the course was amazing though, because a lot of people got results, and it was like, but people didn't care about how I packaged it. They didn't care how it was. It was just like, oh, this information he's teaching us A to Z, and I sent people like, we basically made like videos where we pull from Skype, because we did like Skype recordings, and we put it in like a Google Drive. And we called it the Online Income Academy. So that was like the course name. And then we broke it down from like, hey, this is how you set up your store. This is how you import products. And we just showed them like literally the A to Z. And then we sold it to them. And then people bought it like crazy. And now we knew like, oh, wow, we had something. It was like, oh, wow, this stuff actually worked. So now after that, Sam Ovens had a conference going on. It was called the Quantum Mastermind. It was in Manhattan. So then what ended up happening, there was another guy who I bought his e-commerce course. I invested in his e-commerce course. And when I invested in that guy e-commerce course, I went to Miami to meet him. And when I met him, he was trying to do something else too, because his e-commerce business, what ended up happening is that when you're running Facebook ads with e-commerce, as you scale up, Facebook's gonna give you the customer. So some people get kind of greedy. Because when you start to scale up and Facebook is just giving you all these buyers, sometimes then you're getting all these sales coming in. Some people don't want to shut their ads off, but they don't have the inventory.
Okay.
But they're making all this money and now they don't have the inventory. So what ended up happening, he had like my friend who pretty much was in Miami. He had like his vendor was supposed to supply him with all the products. So he told his people like, buy now, and then I'm gonna ship you the product in like 30 days or whatever. And he had it on his website. But what ended up happening, his vendor started getting like longer on his like orders. It started taking longer. So he started getting like a lot of chargebacks and things like that. So when I went to see him, I was telling him, yo, I actually stopped doing e-commerce. I got into consulting, because consulting, we're just educating people on like what we did with e-commerce, and not everybody's trying to make as much as we've made, but some of them are trying to make like $5,000 a month or $1,000 or just make some type of passive income.
Yeah.
So I was telling him like consulting is like hot, because there's so many people and they're all willing to actually learn. So now, boom, he was like, and we showed him how we made like 50 grand. With like when we first started, first month doing it. And then after he was like, yo, I want to get into it too. So Sam had his quantum mastermind in Manhattan. So I told him, hey, come to Manhattan with us at this mastermind. And we all flew to Manhattan. And when we got to Manhattan, I was the first black guy there, like the only black guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, literally. Everybody was from like New Zealand. Everybody was from Austria, like everywhere, Germany, and from LA. Everybody came in, and when I was in the room, all these people was making like, all of them was making like about 10 million a year, 5 million a year, and I was like, yo, first, I wasn't making that amount of money, but just putting myself in an environment, it was like, yo, what's going on? So I'm just in the room, just in the back, just taking notes. And I'm like, what? These guys are making all this amount of money just selling their course online? So I was like, yo, I'm about to stay locked in on this. So I literally just went back, because I had bought a whole bunch of like woman products, heels, shoes, and everything, right? And I had it in like my storage. I just went back and told my uncle, you can have it all. I spent like probably like 30 grand on it, but I didn't want to have the head, because Sam was like, you have to eliminate. So, because I was like being a humble student. I'm glad I was, because it changed my life. He was like, hey, don't let things clog your mind. Just get rid of everything and focus on your consulting business. You already see it's working. Just get rid of everything as fast as you can, so you can have focus.
So you got rid of all that merchandise by just giving it to your uncle?
I just gave it to him.
What did he do with it?
I don't even know what he did with it. I just told him, yo, you can have everything. Because I didn't even want to think about it anymore. Because it was so much thinking about it. Like, where am I going to sell it? Am I going to put it online? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? I was like, nah. Let me just focus on selling my consulting offer. And then, boom. As soon as we did that year after, we did $5 million with our consulting course. It went crazy. We started using webinars. So webinars was like the number one strategy that we started using. We started using live webinars, where people will promote the webinar. First, we started with strategy sessions, where it was like a VSL funnel. People book a call and we got on the phone. But then when we got to like 50K and we started reaching like 75K, 100K a month, it kind of became where it's like, now we had like this job to get on phones with people all day to tell them what we was offering. So now we learned about live webinars. Instead of us doing like strategy session, we can just do a group session, get everybody on like a Zoom meeting, or like back then it was called GoToWebinar. We'll get them on one webinar platform, and then after pretty much boom, they would jump on the webinar and we'll sell them on our offer in a group scale. We did that got us to about 200K a month. And then now we was like, yo, we need to automate this whole thing. So we're not the one just doing these live webinars every Sunday, because we used to do like webinars every Sunday. So we was trying to figure out, every way we went, was trying to figure out how we can remove ourselves.
So what did you end up doing did you pre-record the seminar? Is that what you started doing next?
So then after we started doing automated webinar. Automated webinar is pretty much how we just did a presentation and we did it really well. And then after we just ran traffic to that presentation and we sold that presentation and people bought that presentation right through the automated webinar and it got through our training.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much we scaled that up, did really well with that, scaled it to over 10 million. And then what ended up happening was I got into real estate.
So you're into real estate now?
Yeah, now I'm into real estate, but I still do my consulting offer as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I still do consulting, I do real estate as well.
Okay.
But pretty much that's my story.
So with your consulting,
Yeah.
when you have the funnel
Yeah.
and people go through it, now they want to buy something from you. Now they're buying a course or they're buying a consultation with you.
Like right now?
Yeah, like right now.
Right now, like most people who like go through our funnels and things like that, we don't normally do like events. Where we do like 5 days events or 3-day summits.
Like how Tony Robbins does these
Exactly.
events.
Exactly. So we do like a 3-day Zoom class, just like Tony Robbins. We go over different things on the 5 days Zoom class. And then at the end, we offer our offers or whatever it is that we're offering. So most people, they go through our webinars or they go through our summits.
Okay. All right. I went through your social media, after we connected, and then I started, going down a rabbit hole, because I always like to find out a bit of information before I talk to guests on the show. And I saw there were some negative things that came about, which I'm sure that you've seen.
Of course.
Where there's been videos that people have come out and said that you scammed them.
Of course.
People saying that they wired, one particular girl said she wired $10,000.
Yeah.
And she was supposed to get something, and she said she didn't get it.
Yeah.
And so she did a video saying that you scammed her. There was a few things I've seen that people are saying that you're not a legitimate business person, that you're actually scamming people. What do you have to say about that?
I have to say, when you have a lot of customers, there's gonna be some type of bad thing. There's nobody that has, like I have over 17,000 customers. So I actually am doing great for only having a few people that's going out there and saying that they're mad because we didn't refund them on a product. Because when you scale up your offers out there, it's like you meet so many different type of people that are coming through your offers, and you can't control how they react to your offers. And one thing about running a business is like you can't run a business based off people's financial status. Because some people may buy your product, and then when they buy your product, they may be going through something, and then they ask for a refund after they use your product. And you can't run your business off refunding people because they're going through something in their situation. You know what I'm saying? So one thing that I would definitely say, in business, every business, when I tell people, it's like, if you never get any type of bad thing on publicity on your business, you don't have a real business. Because that means like, why would someone actually want to make anything bad and say something bad about you? Like look at any successful person that you research. You can research any person's name and someone has said something negative about them in some way, shape, or form. Just because of how they feel of that situation.
Okay. The other thing is what I've noticed, not necessarily you only specifically, but there's a lot of people who are turned off when they see people flashing money and flashing things, like it's like you're showing off, like I have this, I have that, and it's almost like I have it, you don't. The only way for you to get it is if you do this and this and this. How do you feel about that? Like,
I think you got to know your market and you got to know your audience because every audience is different. You don't need to be flashy. Like I have a lot of clients that work with me and they're not flashy at all. They just sell their product based off their offer and based off their knowledge, and people buy from their knowledge and their offer. And that works very well. you know, like with my audience, I have a lot of different range of people. I have like people who are younger, people who are older. Like I work with clients who are in their 60s. I work with clients who are 19. So a lot of people love that. And a lot of people like to see that you're actually doing it. Because you can talk all day long, like, hey, I have this, I achieved this. But show me. That's how people are. People like, show me, don't tell me. Like people want to see you drive a nice car. People want to see you wear a nice watch. People want to see that. Like no matter what, like we thinking ourselves is like, oh, that's bragging. But no, it's you showing people that it's possible. It's possible. It's inspiring someone. Like imagine you seeing a person wearing a Birkin bag. You're like, damn, I want a Birkin bag. Damn, she probably know what she's talking about. She has a Birkin bag. You get what I'm saying? So I think it's not like people just have, I think the people who don't like to show those things, maybe because they don't have it, and it's more of an insecurity towards them that, oh, this person is being flashy and things like that. So, oh, don't show off and things like that. But I think it's okay though. I think it's okay to show people that you can work hard for something and achieve it and be grateful for it and be willing to share it with the audience.
I do think that it's great to be able to share what you've done and what you've accomplished. I'm not a person who would flash money because I've seen you have your money on the table. Like, I can't see myself do that.
Yeah, I don't really do stuff like that. Like that was the first time I've ever did something like that. The reason why is just because what happened, I think I just came from the bank or something. And then after I was like, yo, you know what? Give me like 300K real quick. And I was like, boom, let me just do a content. Cause I never really did stuff like that, but I just wanted to just do it. Just like, you know?
Yeah, because I'm like, social media, people be watching. You don't know what criminals are going to be like, oh, I know where that guy lives. Let me see if I can go and, So, I mean, being aware of those kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, definitely where I live is a lot, like a lot of people where I live are rich. So like, you know, like nobody's coming to your house or anything like that to be like, oh, what is this guy? You know what I'm saying?
It's not the people who live in your neighborhood.
And then my audience are kind of different too though. You know, like my audience are like more like people who want to learn from me.
Yeah.
Like when I meet people in person, every single person that I meet in person says, oh my God, I've been watching your videos for all this time. I saw your interview. I saw this. Yo, let's get a, like, I don't meet people where it's like kind of weird, you know, like, like I don't meet those type of people. I meet people who are like, yo, I want to buy your program. Yo, I've seen you online. Yo, I seen one of my friends went through your program. I saw all your YouTube videos of all your success stories, your interviews that you guys did. So it's more like that, like the type of audience that, because I have so much content, by the time someone meets me and things like that, if they went on my YouTube channel and watch a lot of my testimonials and things, they're pretty much thinking about how they want to work with me or things like that. It's not like, oh, I want to rob him. Like that's not really their mentality.
Right. Do you have siblings?
Yes, I do.
Where do you fall in line?
So I actually have two different type of siblings. Like I have a
different type of siblings.
So pretty much like my mom, I have on my birth mom and my birth dad side, I have my little sister and me.
Okay.
So that's like, but then when I went to the States, I was adopted. I was adopted.
Okay.
So I pretty much have my other siblings.
Okay.
So pretty much, and with that we had like, she has like four of us, 4 or 5 of us. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm the second oldest on that side.
Okay. I asked you that because I'm always curious to know when people go into these types of businesses, because it's not a traditional business.
Yeah.
Or a traditional job. Because a lot of people in our society, we've grown up with, you know, go to school, get a degree, get a good job, work there, you know, get your benefits or whatever. A lot of people, that's what they do, especially in Middle America.
Yeah.
Living in Minnesota,
yeah.
Right? What did your siblings have to say about you getting into this, or your parents getting into this industry? Like, were they interested in it, or were they like, no, go get a job? Like,
so like when I first got into the whole internet marketing thing, my parents didn't really know about it, because I wasn't even living with them at the time. Because when I left, I had my own place. So because first when I got the job, my parents was like, hey, if you're not gonna go to college, you need to pay bills. So it became where it was like, yo, I was paying bills in the house. It was like, yo, I might as well get my own place. Because if I'm paying bills to help around the house, and I can never bring people over, And I was a young man. I'm a young man. I'm like, I got to bring my girls over and stuff like that. So I was like, yo, it's better for me to just get my own place where I can have full control over everything. So I left, got my own place, and then it was shocking for them because it was just like this. It was like, oh, Boniface, because it was like I never was the person who people was taught I was going to be successful on this level. Like I was not. Like if you would think like if you would look at me, I was one thing my mom said was like I always asked a lot of questions. That's one thing. She was like, one thing about Boniface, he asked a lot of questions when he was around people. So she said that made her know I was gonna be successful, but I wasn't like a A student where it was like I just was gonna be like this kid who was just like super smart, who was gonna figure it out. It wasn't like that. So that was one thing that she definitely said, that she knew kind of I was going to be successful because I asked a lot of questions. But when I started the whole business and then I started showing them, they didn't believe it because they didn't know. Like it wasn't their reality. It was never, it was just, she was a nurse, like, and then my brothers and stuff like that, my little brother, he was just trying to play football in school, and my sister and them was like just in the neighborhood, just doing their own thing. So I just went against the grain and I kind of disappeared though, because they didn't see me for like over a year and a half, almost 2 years. Yeah.
Why did you disappear like that?
Because like when I started my business, like first I wanted to like do something different. And I didn't want to just be in Brooklyn Park in Minnesota, just doing the same thing all my friends was doing. I didn't want that.
What were your friends doing?
Just like, if they was making money, like hustling, they was selling weed. Like they was selling weed and stuff like that, or just doing like thing kids do, like just hanging out, going party, just like chasing girls, just what young kids do. So I was like, I didn't want to do that. So I had got a girlfriend at the time. So we just moved and boom. And then I was just locked in on my business and things like that. And I started getting a lot of internet friends. So I didn't need friends in person.
Internet friends.
Yeah.
Sounds like you were like in a room, digital room.
Yeah. So I was just locked into my room, and then all my friends was on the internet. Like all my friends, I met so many people that was helping me fix my credit. I was just doing all the things to develop myself as a person in America. So, and all my internet friends was doing different things too. They was learning different things. It was all working with each other. And it was no purpose for me to be with my friends and family, because when I hang around them, they're not talking about anything really like where it's gonna be. And then they didn't believe it. There was some friends who I try to put on. Like now, of course, they believe it because they see all the things I've accomplished and all that. So, but before they didn't believe. They was like, what? You doing internet marketing? You're doing this? What is that? They was like, nah, that's a scam. Every single person, the thing about like internet marketing, it's a scam to people who don't know it. Like we call it scam, is still confused about money. That's the definition of a scam.
Still confused about money? I've never heard anybody say that before.
What? Because that's all it is. People are still confused about money, So
what do you think people are confused about?
Because they don't know. The people awareness are low. Their awareness are super low. If their awareness are low, if like, all right, so if I come around and say, hey, you can do this, you can build a funnel, you can do strategy session, you can sell an offer. If they never done that, they're gonna like, what? How is that possible? It's just their belief in themselves, like they can't offer things to people. So I think people are still confused about money. That's just what people are. If anyone thinks things are scam, that's just how they are, because their awareness is super low. They just need to increase their awareness, because my awareness was low too. But I wanted something better than what I had,
right.
So I was willing to seek it. People are comfortable in the environment, so if they hear things, they're like, nah, it's not possible for themselves, So yeah, so people definitely.
Okay. So you're African.
Yeah.
In America.
Yeah.
Right now you're in Ghana.
Yeah.
Do you come to Africa often?
I actually come to Africa. I started coming to Africa around the pandemic, like around 2020.
2020?
Yeah, 2020. That's when I first started coming to Africa. My dad was the one who actually made me come to Africa.
Okay.
I was like, because I never saw my birth mom until I was like 22.
How did that feel when you saw her, when you saw her for the first time?
It was amazing. First,
she's in Liberia.
Yeah, she's in Liberia. First, when I first saw her living condition, I was like, what the hell? People live like this in Africa? Because I imagine me coming from my penthouse in Buckhead in Atlanta, Georgia, and then coming to Africa and never been to Africa. everything I see around me is Lamborghinis. All my friends were all like living the high life. Then my dad's like, and I was just sitting back. I was actually with a life coach. One of my clients, she was a life coach. She was like, one thing you should do, Bonnie, you should go see your mom. I was like, what, my birth mom? She was like, yeah, go see your birth mom. And then I took that advice, and then I went to Africa, and I was like, yo, that was my first time in Africa. I was like, yo, what? People live like this out here?
So you hadn't been in communication with her all these years?
No, not really. Like, she tried to reach out, but like, it's like, I didn't know her.
Okay.
So I was like, I don't want to be talking, I didn't want to talk to a person who I didn't really know, because I didn't grow up with her. It's not like she was there. So it was like, it was kind of neglect. And I was like, nah, I don't know this lady. Like, I have my mom already here that I already grew up with. I already have my life, and I'm already thinking like, yo, I'm doing good for myself. Anybody that want to come around me probably want to get something out of me. So I'm already thinking that in my mind. So
okay. So in your mind, you're thinking when you saw her living conditions, you're thinking maybe people are trying to get something out of you?
No. This is before I even saw her.
Oh, okay.
Like her reaching out, trying to talk to me and things like that. And I didn't, even my dad, like I didn't even want to talk, like my dad and me never got along. Like my dad and me actually just started getting along when I became successful. Like before I wasn't successful, me and my dad was like beefing each other. Like, I don't know, he didn't like me for no reason.
Do you think it's that he didn't like you, or is that he just wanted the best for you? And
I think the thing about it, I think what I realized, like with my dad, I think he wanted to achieve success in his life and he didn't have a way. Like I felt like that's what I felt. I felt like he didn't know how he wanted to provide for his family, but he didn't know how to do it. It wasn't like us, the internet kids who were making money online. Like it wasn't like that. So I felt like that was the reason why he neglected having a relationship, because I felt like he wanted to do more, and because he couldn't do more, he didn't want to be around. So he left us with our grandma. So that was like my thinking, being like critical thinker. Like me being a critical thinker, I was like, okay, maybe the reason why he wasn't around is because he wanted to like provide for us and do things, but he couldn't do it, so he didn't want to be around.
So, all right, so let's backtrack. You got to Liberia.
Yeah.
See your mom.
Yeah.
How was that feeling, besides the living conditions that you mentioned, like
the
her
feeling
as a
of seeing
being,
my mom? I was excited. I was like, yo, this is my mom. Because I was like, this is my birth mom. This is somebody that birthed me. This is my real mom. So I was super stoked. And I was like, me and her had a great time together. I saw my little sister. It was amazing. Because I didn't see their living condition first. They came to my hotel.
Okay.
Yeah, they came to my hotel. And then I was like super excited. I was like, yo, this is my mom. I was taking videos. Like, hey, everybody, look, this is my mom here. And then it was just fun. And then she was like, oh, come, let me take you to my house and things like that. And then I started going to the house like, what? It's like, what? You guys are living here? Like, what? In a room? Because they had like this room where they was living in and things like that. And then I was like, yo, how can you guys even live here? So, yeah, but God helped her change that situation. But that was like the first interaction I had with my mom. Then after I started seeing how like, first I didn't even want to be in Africa. Like, let me not say Africa, because Africa is very big.
Yeah.
Liberia.
Yeah.
So, and they was living on the old road in Liberia. So I didn't want to be in Liberia anymore. When I seen that, and then I didn't see so many people so chaotic before. Because where I'm from is so like, everybody that I hang around with is all luxury life. So when I saw people just in the marketplace, bicycles just running, I'm like, what is this?
This is Africa.
Like,
the market.
What is
it's the
going
market in
on?
Africa.
I'm like, yo, take me out of here. And then the roads wasn't good. It wasn't like, it was just like, what the heck is going on here? My whole eyes, I was like, yo. But then I started getting used to it. I started being like, oh, wow, okay. And because I started getting to know the people. It wasn't more like, I wasn't judging the environment. I was trying to know who was in the environment and relate to the people in the environment. And then I started thinking about opportunities on how I can benefit from the environment and seeing, oh, wow, these people don't have this. Oh, wow, I can help them with this and I can be able to make money. So now I started seeing me being there as an opportunity. I started to like it more. And I started going to the beaches and started really absorbing the environment and taking it in.
So you saw it as an opportunity to benefit yourself. You didn't see it as an opportunity to help them.
I mean, first, I'm young. So I wasn't thinking about, oh, I want to help these people. Like, I'm not, I wasn't thinking about, oh, well, I want to go help these people and things like that. No, I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about, how can I make money here so I can be like, Because that's what my dad brought me there, to be able to think about that. That he was like, yo, when you get to Liberia, make sure you start thinking about different ways that you can make money in Liberia, you know? So that was like my mentality with what my dad gave me on the plane before we got to Liberia.
So that means he saw business opportunities in Liberia himself?
Oh yeah.
Has he done any business in Liberia?
Yeah. So we pretty much, that's how me and him started our business. So we have a trucking business where we have like over 50 trucks. So pretty much how it all started was he was inspired. So I made a lot of money. Then I was like, yo, figure something out that we can do together. And I'll invest and I'll use my own money. So pretty much first we started a different opportunity where it was like cargo ship, because we wanted to ship rice from Taiwan. So it was like, hey, we'll buy a cargo ship, we'll buy a tanker truck and just ship the rice here, and we can make a lot of money doing that. Because a lot of
rice
Liberians,
from Taiwan to Liberia?
Yeah, to Liberia. Because
Okay.
a lot of Liberians like to eat rice. So we can ship rice there, and that will be one of our business. Or we can do like transport, where we buy a whole bunch of taxi and things like that. We do transport. That was one of the opportunity. And then I wanted to do real estate. I was like, oh wow, because my dad pretty much started introducing me to Freedom. You know, Freedom, Jacob Caesar.
Yes.
So he was like, yo, Freedom, you're more successful. Like when Freedom went to Ghana, he wasn't even as successful as you. Like you're freaking doing, and you're younger than him. Go to Liberia and do this. And then I was like, but I didn't want to be in Liberia. So, but when I started watching Freedom, I got inspired. I was like, oh wow, this guy really, he was talking about how like the development, like Freedom just lifted my spirit to want to invest in Africa. So I was like, I'm about to do it. So then I wanted to do real estate, but the thing about it, my real estate project was going to take a longer time.
Real estate in Liberia?
And yeah, it was going to take a longer time to develop all the things that I wanted to do, because I was like, yo, I didn't think about like doing off plan and having people. I wasn't thinking about all of that. I was thinking about using my own money to just develop everything. Okay. I wasn't thinking about like as an investor strategy and things like that. That wasn't on my mind. So I was like, yo, you know what? Let's find an opportunity where we can make a good amount of money, where I can take that money to be able to invest it in my real estate property. So that's how he came up with, hey, let's do a trucking business. Because he had trucks before, but he had like one truck.
Okay.
So he was like, hey, let's do a trucking business and things like that. And then after, we can invest in the trucks, and then we can use that to be able to invest in your real estate. And when you start your real estate, you still need to use the trucks anyway. So you might as well buy the trucks and use it and transport goods. So we got like a big contract with this company called Golden Viral. It's GVL in Sano area. So we got like different contracts to Liberia, transporting goods like iron ore and palm oil. Okay. So we got that contract, started doing really well. Then a lot of our trucks got messed up and things like that, but we ended up fixing it. But you know, the thing about Liberia, the roads are very bad, especially not in the city area. Let's not, because Liberia is amazing. Let me not downplay Liberia like it's bad or something. No, Liberia is amazing before people twist this interview around. Liberia is a very amazing place. Everything about Liberia, even Ghana. I'm like, to be honest, I thought Ghana was more developed than this. I was actually trying to neglect Liberia because I was like, damn, because I'm going to Nigeria and I see Nigeria and I'm like, wow, this place is so developed. I'm like, oh, I'm about to just claim my Nigerian side.
You said claim your Nigerian side?
I'm just going to claim my Nigerian side.
Which side of your family's Nigerian?
My dad.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm just going to claim my Nigerian side at this point. So pretty much, but Liberia, coming to Ghana, I'm actually excited for Liberia because it's literally kind of the same. I was neglecting Liberia, but people were so, because on the internet, right? It's like Ghana, amazing. Oh, go to Ghana. Everybody wants to be in Ghana. So I'm like, yo, I'm going to probably just buy a place in Ghana or Nigeria, and then I'm going to just go develop in Liberia. But coming to Ghana, it's not as developed as people are saying. Like, it's literally just like Liberia. The only thing they have a little bit more roads, but it's literally the same. So now I'm excited for Liberia.
So I want to know, what is it about Ghana that you're saying is not that developed in comparison with Liberia?
Markets on the streets, like if you go through, like, I don't know the streets here, like what the different title of the streets is, but like if you go towards like the different type of streets and things like that, like if you look at the different streets, there's markets, people, the streets are not that good. There's the Same exact thing in Liberia. Not all the roles are good and things like that. There's nice buildings here. You guys definitely have a lot of different high-rise buildings, but a lot of them are being developed there too. You know, so, and then Ghanaians, a lot of like you, I thought you looked like you from Liberia. You look like you belong in Liberia because there's a lot of African Americans in Liberia. You know, because of, you know, Liberia was the first country that was the only country that's colonized by America. And Liberians are literally Americans. We have our same last name as their last name. We have Johnson.
Yeah, because they were part of the whole transatlantic slave trade. They brought some of them came back. Yeah, so yeah, that's understandable why there would be similar names.
Similar, literally the same last name, everything. Like if you meet a Liberian, you would not know they're Liberian. You think they're African American. Like you would not know.
I have had people think that I was Liberian. People who think I'm from Senegal.
Yeah.
I've even had people think Kenya. I hear that
Kenya,
a lot.
Yeah, you do.
You know, but it's like, but I'm from Ghana.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
I get those different things. So I'm gonna go back to you said everybody's talking about Ghana.
Yeah.
You know. Why do you think it is that people are talking about Ghana? Why do you think it is?
I mean, at the end of the day, Ghana is a great place. Because the reason why I would say that is, first, Liberia was one of the most developed countries in West Africa. That was back then. It was like, we had Hotel Africa. It was like the most developed. Everybody used to go from vacation from Ghana to Liberia. Every single person, that's where everybody vacationed at, in Liberia. So what ended up happening was that Ghana took that West Africa, because Liberia was the peaceful country that everybody used to go to.
Really?
Yeah. And after the war, the reason that after the war happened, it made a huge negative stigma on Liberia. Because if you go online right now, you type in Liberia, you're gonna see civil war. Like you're not gonna see, unless you really search content like Liberia beaches, Liberia, day-to-day in Liberia, vlogging in Liberia, then you're gonna have to start to see, but if you just type in Liberia, it's just gonna give you a lot of war content. Because that's what people visualize Liberia as, because I mean the war just ended. Like it ended like it has long about 10 years now, 20 years? Probably like
maybe 20.
20 years, like 20
more
years?
Than 20.
Like
I don't remember the exact date, so
years?
don't quote me. I don't remember the exact
date.
date.
I think it ended in like 2020, 2022, 2002. Like 2002, 2001, that's when the war just ended. So like a lot of people's stigma on Liberia is the war. But there's a lot of African Americans, there's a lot of people in Liberia. And Liberia is good. Like me, I bought a land in Liberia in the city for like $200K. Like if you went
$200K
USD,
or,
but that's how cheap Liberia is. Like if you go right now and go to like Oxford Street here, Osu, that's what you guys call it, you're probably spending what, $1 million, 2 million, 3 million to buy land. So like in Liberia, it's so virgin. Like beach land, I got a beach land for like freaking $400K. So like it's not as much as like if you try to buy a beach land in Ghana here, it's 5 million. You get what I'm saying? So like right now, because of Liberia is so virgin, like whoever goes there and be able to do things, they can be able to get things. And then there's people there.
Yeah.
You know, there's people there, and they're all like, one of my friends, he has a beach. He's killing it on like with one of his property called D Calabash. It's like a beach. It's right on by the beach. It's like a waterfront, and he's killing it and charging people, and he's making a killing off of that. So like Liberia is definitely virgin, and people who go to Liberia right now are gonna be able to really like make their investment really worth it. There's a lot of Lebanese in Liberia too. I see them in West Africa a lot.
Yeah. Back to the question.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
As to why people are saying Ghana is so great?
The reason why, because of time. I think time made that a thing, because Liberians left Liberia to come to Ghana after the war. So we love Ghana. Liberians, there's a lot of Liberians here in Ghana. So because of the time that Ghana has had of peace, it made and then Ghana is an English speaking country. So in West Africa, how many West African countries are there that has clear English like how we're speaking? Ivory Coast is all French. Nigeria, you can't really understand Nigeria language unless you're Nigerian or you study it for a long time. You know, people in Senegal and things like that, you're not really understanding. But Ghana is like Liberia because we speak English.
They speak English in Nigeria too.
Yeah, but not like how we speak English here in Ghana.
Are you sure?
No, it's all like an accent.
I've heard Nigerians speak English, and
They speak very good English, but it's not like. And then Nigeria has a negative stigma because of the 419 things like that happen. So people have a fear of Nigeria. But Nigeria's way more developed than Ghana. But because people, you know, the thing about it is like whatever people get familiar with, they think that's it. If people say, "Oh, Nigerians are scammers," they're like this. So now they think like everybody's a scammer. They think like, oh, they think that's what they're gonna visualize. If you promote, hey, Ghana is peaceful. Ghana is this place. So now everybody's mindset is Ghana is peaceful. Ghana is this.
It is. Ghana is the second safest country in the whole continent of Africa. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Second safest country in the entire continent of Africa is Ghana. So I'll tell you, I mean, you may not know all of this, but Ghana has a special place in winning because of the way that Ghana has always been Pan-African vocally for a long time. The peace, yes, peace is top. And then the Pan-Africanism.
Yeah.
Because since the first president of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah,
wow,
he was already about Pan-Africanism. He already wanted to connect all of the diaspora with and all of the continent of Africa. He was trying to create a united Africa.
Yeah.
And he invited people to come to Ghana.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King came to his inauguration.
Oh, wow.
Martin Luther King came to his inauguration, and when he went back, he told a story about how Ghana was and how he saw a people who fought for their independence finally have their independence.
Awesome.
So the whole concept of Pan-Africanism and connecting with African diaspora has been a long-standing thing in Ghana.
So that's why.
Generationally, it's been something. Muhammad Ali came to Ghana, Malcolm X came to Ghana, Maya Angelou came to Ghana. Rita Marley was living in Ghana for like 20 years. She lived in Ghana. I think she's gone back to Miami now, but she was living in Ghana for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
You know, there's a lot of people who historically have been coming to this country.
Oh, wow.
And there have been campaigns inviting people to come to this country. And it just so happens that when the Year of Return came out in 2019 and when Beyond the Return 2020, what helped to really make it go far was what we've been talking about throughout this whole conversation, the internet.
Yeah, the internet.
The internet helped it to go far. Social media helped it to just go far for this generation.
Wow.
Whereas previous generations, it would be like, you know, a person would come to Ghana, they visit, they go back, they tell the story to their friends and family. It might be a newspaper article for one day, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
Whereas now, someone's posting it on Instagram, they're posting it on Facebook, they're posting it on TikTok, they're posting their experiences in real time.
Yeah.
And then it's going far,
Yeah.
and the message keeps spreading, and then people keep going, oh, I should go to Ghana.
Yeah.
Oh, I should go to Ghana.
I didn't know that.
all
I didn't know
contributes to it.
I didn't know that Martin Luther King and all those people came here to Ghana. So that definitely has a thing cause especially in Atlanta, like people are Pan-African. Oh, like that's like their thing. You get what I'm saying? So I definitely I'm African. I'm African. I'm already African. So I already be African. I see now why a lot of African Americans come to Ghana.
Yeah, and Ghana also has the slave forts that are there. They actually maintain them because it's under the UNESCO heritage site, World Heritage Site. It's a historical site. So people who want to have an experience learning about the history of the transatlantic slave trade, when they come to Ghana, they find that they get a clear historical experience.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're doing it in Liberia because I've not been.
Yeah.
But I've heard from people who've gone to different West African countries that the way Ghana does it has been the best
Presentation.
Presentation
100%.
for historically for the presentation has been better than in other African countries. Because even Nigerians have complained, why aren't they doing it and more tourism there? Because there are slave forts in Nigeria as well. Because a lot of the people who were taken in the slave trade came from Nigeria too.
Yeah.
But you don't hear about it as much because their historical sites are not maintained the same.
Yeah, Liberians don't really talk about slavery like that. Like we don't really I never really I never really seen anything really on slavery
Yeah.
and stuff. Like like
Because they're
really,
the people who came and had their freedom to come back to Africa
Yeah,
in Liberia.
yeah,
And they actually had an event in 2022, which was supposed to be the Liberian Year of Return or Return or something. I don't know if you know about it.
yeah.
That was 2022.
I think
in
I got
Liberia.
invited to that. I got invited to that, but I
Okay.
was busy, so I
Okay.
couldn't make it.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
but that's amazing though. Like I think definitely like Liberia and Ghana has a in sync. That's one thing I noticed like Liberian, because I think in the next future, like moving forward, it'll be like where the relationship is like, because there's so many Liberians in Ghana here. It's crazy.
Yeah. And so what are you doing, to give? Do you give back? Like, do you do anything? Like, what are you doing?
100%. I give back.
for the people?
I do like foundational things where I go and give food and things like that, and just doing things just to give back to people. And what I really do to give back too is literally helping people with mentorships. Like, cause like me, I don't have to do it. Like I have a whole bunch of things going on for myself, but me doing that is because that's how I started. Cause I got mentored by someone who had an expertise and it was able to pour into me. So like me giving my wisdom and information that I was able to acquire over the years, that's giving back.
What will you tell somebody who's living here, a young person? Because Ghana has a lot of high unemployment
Yeah.
for young people. I mean, the population is, I think it's like almost 60% young people
Yeah.
under 35. What will you tell an African? Because yesterday I actually went to
Yeah.
a store and there was these two young guys working and they were on their phones. And I ended up having a conversation with them and told them that do they realize the power they have in their phones to make money?
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh no, I want to go to school and be an engineer. And the other one was like, he's just helping his mom at the shop.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had a conversation and I told them about using your phone to make money. And I don't think they believed me when I said it. But you having done digital stuff, what would you be saying to a young person in Ghana or in another African country who says that there's no hope for work to make money?
I mean, the thing about it is like there's always hope. It's you have to really make a decision of what you want. Because even me being in Minnesota, I didn't feel like there was any hope for work to make money. But I got online. So I think you just like, especially in Ghana is a lot easier too. Ghana, Nigeria, Africa is easier now as a whole because there's internet. So because this internet is accessible, you can be able to do something to make money. Start with a job, work at that job, make money, save up. First thing you need to do is get yourself a laptop. You get a laptop. After you get a laptop, find some type of business opportunity you want to do, YouTube University, and then work on it and just focus on it for 6 months to a year. You will be able to achieve something. People just get distracted. Like people don't know how to just work and just discipline themselves. If you just ground yourself and discipline yourself in a short period of time, like 6 months, you will be able to achieve, you'll find something that you can be really good at. But you just have to have that discipline though.
You talked about the tools online, because in the beginning of our conversation, you talked a lot about doing ads. What is somebody supposed to do if they don't even have money for ads? Because there's a lot of people
The best
here
thing is services. Like what I tell a lot of, if I was starting directly from scratch right now, I would just have a service business. Whatever skill set that you have, if you don't have any skill sets, there's Upwork, Fiverr. This is what I even have my little cousin do. Just go on Upwork and Fiverr, and whatever skill sets that you want to do, you can just find service providers, and those service providers can do the fulfillment for you. So let's say you want to do website designs. One of my cousins, I say, hey, you go on, she literally does website designs for people. She don't even do the work. She charges people $1,500 to do website designs, and she pays her VAs $500 to do the website design. She profits $1,000. So if I was starting from scratch, I would just sell a good service that people will buy. And I would use platform like Fiverr, and I will find different services that's available, see how much they're costing, mark up the price, and then make a profit for myself. And just rinse and repeat.
Interesting. Very interesting. But they can't do anything until they have a laptop.
You can do it on your phone.
Okay.
Because you can sell services on your phone.
Yeah.
You don't need to have a laptop, to be honest, because you just need, if you don't have any skill sets, you need to find someone who has skill sets. So one of the best platforms to find people who have skill sets is Upwork, Fiverr, Online Job PH. You can go on these platforms, just find different service providers there, interview them, see their rankings and see how good they are at providing services to people and say, hey, would you like to work in my marketing firm? You can, I'll bring clients and you can just do fulfillment for me. And then boom, I'll pay you a commission. I'll pay you based on how many people I'm bringing. There you go, you got a business. So there's really no excuse. And now me just explaining these different platforms, people have the capability to go and achieve that.
Have you spent any time with any youth here in Ghana while you've been here?
No, I actually really haven't. I just been discovering, because this is like my first time really just getting to know Ghana.
Okay.
So I just been trying to just discover the different, I've been trying to see how it feels to live in Ghana. So I see how it feels to interact with people, going to the beaches, going to the different places, going to the market, just doing a day-to-day Ghanaian life. Anywhere I travel to, because I'm traveling the entire Africa right now. Like right now, after today, I'm going to I'm literally taking a flight right now to Ivory Coast. Once I get to Ivory Coast, after Ivory Coast, I'm going to Liberia. Then I'm going to Conakry. Then after Conakry, I'm going to Senegal. Then I'm going boom, boom. Then I'm going to leave, go to Malta. Then after, what is it called? Milan? Mali?
Oh, you're going to Mali?
Yeah. Then, what's it called? Casablanca. Then I'm just going to go. Then I'm going to fly back to Kenya, Zanzibar. So I'm just doing a whole African tour.
Okay, that's really good. What are you hoping to achieve in your travels of Africa?
I don't know. You know, like, to be honest, I just made a decision that I just want to see Africa.
Yeah. And what are you looking most forward to, if you have anything in mind, like on each of the countries? Like, have you researched them before you're going? Like, is there any one particular thing that you know you want to see when you go?
I just want to see how it feels to live there.
Okay.
Like, that's what my whole thing is. Like, all my condos, my place in Miami, I have somebody staying there, they're renting it out. My place in Atlanta, I have somebody renting it out. And I was like, yo, I make enough money. I have a lot of passive income coming in. I have no reason to just be here. Let me just take a year or whatever and just go see Africa. And spend like 1 week, 2 weeks and just live in each place and see how it feels just to live there.
Okay.
And I'm doing my development here in Liberia. So I'm like, hey, let me be in West Africa so I can be able to check, and I want to be right by Liberia right here so I can be able to fly in, check on my development, my project managers and stuff like that. Then boom, on to the next place and just come back and forth. But be in Africa here and I want to go to Rwanda. My sister's in Rwanda, so I want to go check out Rwanda, Kigali. There's so many places in Africa, you know? So I want to Botswana. I want to go to Botswana. I just want to see everywhere in Africa.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
Have you eaten any local dishes while you've been here in Ghana?
Yeah, so that's one thing that Ghana and Liberia has similar dishes. It's so crazy. I didn't even think, I was like, palm nut soup, we call it palm butter.
Palm butter?
Yeah, it's so insane. I've seen you guys have a plava sauce. Every single thing that you guys literally have, we have like the same thing. So I was like, what the heck? So I'm eating the palm nut soup. I'm like, yo, you know we call this palm butter, right? And it's just.
You know what's interesting is Africa was divided by Europeans. Europeans are the ones who sat at the table in Berlin. I don't know if you know this history.
Oh no.
Europeans are the ones who sat at a table in Berlin and made the decision to divide up Africa during the colonization stuff. They are the ones who sat there, made their borders, and divided this continent.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of people who have similarities in different regions because it was the same people and they were nomadic. People roamed, moved around and stuff. People would travel down the Nile and go somewhere. People would come this way. So if Africans took DNA tests, the way that a lot of the diaspora are doing DNA tests to figure out where they're from, that's why you end up seeing that someone will have this percentage from this country, that, because we were a nomadic people. So you have people who will have DNA that might be in Ghana, they might have DNA that's also in Togo, also in Burkina Faso, because there was no border before. The people just moved around, you know? So the things that we did, the practices, the foods,
Yeah.
a lot of it's going to be similar. Because even people I know who go to Nigeria have told me there's a lot of things that are similar in the food from Nigeria as in Ghana. There's a restaurant here called Buka. They have Nigerian food and Ghanaian food, and the dishes are quite similar.
Yeah, you guys do eat a lot of what do y'all call it, the fufu thing?
Yeah, there's fufu and there's kenke and
Kenke,
banku.
Banku. Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys eat a lot
They
of
like that,
Banku.
yeah.
Like Liberians don't eat the only fufu we got is probably like fufu with plantain.
Yeah, the plantain fufu
Yeah, then the other ones,
with the yam and cassava.
yeah, yam and cassava, but we don't.
Yeah.
We don't. But Liberians eat a lot of rice.
That's what you were saying. You wanted to import the Taiwanese rice. Why not
Yeah.
grow local rice and go into agriculture and grow local rice?
To be honest, it's not like it's maybe it's something to do.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that I like. This was when I was coming to Africa, was opportunity that my dad and
Right.
people I was around was introducing me to that work.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't something that I was like, yo, let me research and see what's the best opportunity. I was just hearing from my surroundings what the best opportunity that they felt
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah. You'll find as your career grows, as you get older,
Yeah.
you're going to start thinking differently and start
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at things. Because right now, I feel like your mindset is all of the money, money, money mindset to get the money, 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 money. And then I think as you get older, because I've seen stories of people who become millionaires early, and then as they get older, because even when I think about Mark Zuckerberg became a millionaire early when he started Facebook,
Yeah.
and then as he got older, and I'm not saying he's 100% ethical in everything he
Yeah.
does, but as he got older, sometimes there were things that, you know, he might make different decisions as he's older.
Yeah.
Just one example that came to the top of my head. Because as human beings generally, because when I think of myself in my 20s, the things I thought then to what I think now is different. Because as you get to different chapters of your life, you start to see things differently. And I think, in my opinion,
Yeah.
investing in Africa also includes finding ways to develop things there that can become businesses in the long term.
Oh yeah.
Like as I mentioned, the rice, because Ghana too, Ghana imports so much rice from Asia. There's so
Yeah.
much rice coming from Asia, but yet there's rice that grows here.
Yeah.
Why not grow the rice here, buy rice from here, because then it will support the local farmers, help our local farmers become millionaires too.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, help our local farmers become millionaires rather than always the Asian farmers becoming millionaires. We need more millionaires here too.
That's definitely true, and that's definitely something that my whole plan. You get what I'm saying? I don't like to talk about my plan a lot.
And you don't.
You know, like my whole thing is to build a factory. You know, like build something because that's how people are gonna get a lot of
We
jobs.
need that.
You know,
We
it's
need
like
that.
building factories and things like that, like Dangote. Like how Dangote built the oil refinery.
Yes.
Millions of people are gonna get jobs. So
I would love to meet him.
you know, like that's like in the next 10, 20 years, when I like become like pretty much 40 years old, I want to have like a big factory.
Yes.
Where I employ like probably like a lot of people in West Africa. That's like in the future, you know? Right now it's just like even like my motivation has definitely changed over the years. Like my motivation is not strictly on like money. Like I talk about money because
Yeah.
people don't talk about money.
Yeah.
And people, because it's a topic that people don't like to discuss.
It can be taboo.
You know, and I love to talk about it because it triggers people and it makes people feel like I need to get up and do something. Damn, look at that kid. He's doing this and he's able to do this and do all these things and he's living it. So it's something that I like to talk about to people because it makes them inspire and it makes them be like, yo, I can do it. I can get up. I can start my business. I can start my online business. I can start my consulting business. I can start selling a service if I never had anything. I can do this. So that's why I like to talk about. But my motivation has definitely changed. Now in my state of life, it's to empower people. It's to educate people, give people the trainings that I've got, that I pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for, that people can afford to do that, to get in the rooms that I was able to get in the rooms for.
What are 3 things that people should know about money?
3 things people should know about money is that it's accessible. Like you can get money. You need to know how to keep money. You need to know how to multiply.
And what are the mistakes that you think that people are making all the time that they're not able to understand those 3 things you just said?
Awareness. People awareness are just super low because it's your surroundings. Whatever surroundings you're in, you're going to believe that. And when I was in Minnesota, they said the best thing to do in your life is go to college, go to school and go to college, and then get a 9-to-5 job that you make $100,000 a year. I don't have any friend that make $100,000 a year. All of them are millionaires. So it's like your surroundings dictate what you have. So, and if you're in a surrounding where all your friends are doing this, that's what you're gonna believe. If you're in a surroundings, all your friends are going to church on Sunday, you're gonna go to church on Sunday. If you're in a surroundings where all your friends are cameraman, you're gonna be a cameraman. If you're in a surroundings where all your friends are investing in Africa, you're gonna invest in Africa. If you're in a surroundings where all your friends are doing social media marketing, you're gonna be doing social media marketing. Your surrounding and your environment dictate what you achieve in your life.
So how does a person change their surroundings if what they see around them is not, if you're living somewhere like you see, you lived in Minnesota, somebody could be living in some small town in Ohio, somebody could be, in a small little township in Ghana, they could be somewhere and they're not around somebody who's.
So let's say talk about Africa for an example, right? So if I'm a boy living somewhere in Kumasi, I'm gonna come to Accra because I'm probably gonna be inspired more, and I'm gonna meet and I'm gonna be able to network more with people in Accra. I'm gonna change my environment. If let's say I make a goal and I want to become a developer and I want to develop homes, and I see there's a lot of developers in Accra, I'm gonna try to put myself in that environment to go to a conference. How can I see the different events that are going on? I would go online, or I would meet with people and say, hey, what kind of events is going on in Accra? What is going over development and building and things like that? And I would network. I would change my phone book. I'm not gonna text anybody else until that's on the level that I'm trying to go to, or they're getting there. Those are the only people I'm gonna communicate with. I'm gonna detach from, I call it killing your old version of yourself. Just kill your old version of yourself and just become the person you wanna be now. And then everything's gonna change. So I would just kill the old version of myself, forget about that person who felt like whatever, that I couldn't achieve these things, and I would just start working directly on my contact, the people I'm around, the audio I listen to. I'm not gonna be listening to the same audios that I've been listening to before. I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna start reading the books that's only about this topic. I'm gonna get friends that are only doing this one thing. When I go down my Facebook feed, the only people I'm gonna see is the people that are doing the things that I want to do. I will literally just change my entire life.
What are 3 books that people should read if they want to change their mindset?
The Magic of Thinking Big. You should definitely read Action is Given. You should read The Law of Success in 16 Lessons. The Law of Success in 16 Lessons is actually one of the best books. That's the book you should actually start with, because
The Law of Success in 16 Lessons.
That's the original manuscript to Think and Grow Rich. So Think and Grow Rich was a watered down version of The Law of Success in 16 Lessons that Napoleon Hill wrote. So that's a really good book. And also The Outwitting the Devil. That's a good book too. Outwitting the Devil.
Outwitting the Devil.
Outwitting the Devil.
Oh, Outwitting the Devil.
That's a really good book too, because people, like I said, like once people read these books, their whole life changed. Outwitting the Devil, because people don't realize themselves is what's killing themselves. The devil, their self-doubt and every single thing is what's just hindering them. So when you outwit the devil out your life, all you have is to go up. So you have to outwit the devil.
Outwit the Devil. I never heard of that book.
Oh, I can tell you a lot of other book too. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. That's a really good book, because a lot of people, whatever you program your subconscious mind on, that's you're going to be your reality. If you program your subconscious mind to say, hey, I'm going to wake up every single morning to go work out, you're going to program your subconscious mind is going to be programmed towards that.
I'm like, is he calling me out right now? I woke up this morning. I was like, I should go to the gym at 5, and I was like, ugh, and I didn't go. Oh my gosh. No, I was watching video editing, looking at some video. That's what I was doing. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
When we don't feel like doing something, that's usually when we should actually be doing it.
Yeah. But the best thing, if a person is starting out though, one of the best audio that I recommend they should listen to is In the Gin Network by Kevin Tredone. It's called it's called Your Wish is Your Command by Kevin Tredone.
Your wish is your command.
That book actually changed my entire life. That audio, it's a 14 tape audio. I listened to that audio so many times. I listened to that audio for 5 years straight. This one audio, and I internalized all the information from the audio. So, but that right there, if you listen to that, because success is just principles. It's like, like if you communicating with a person based on what they'll achieve and based on things they say, you can understand the success level. It's just because it's internalized into you. Like your thought pattern. Like Kevin talked about 5 basic secrets to wealth creation. And he talked about number 1 is who you listen to. Who you listen to is the determining factor to your success. You have to listen to somebody who have what you want and has been where you are. Because if you listen to somebody who have what you want and has been where you are, they can show you the process they went to get to exactly where they're at. And that's the first basic. And then the second basic is your teachability index, which is your willingness to learn times your willingness to accept change. You see how I can communicate this with you on an automatic basic where it's just coming out and it's just in me and I can just talk to you and it's just normal? Because I'm the person who actually am able to internalize this information because I understand it is a part of me. So what I'm saying is that all these, when you're reading books and you're listening to audios, when those things become a part of you, you're gonna achieve whatever you want in your life. You ever heard of saying anything he touch, it turns into gold?
Yeah.
Because the information has internalized the success principle. So I'm gonna keep telling about the 5 basic that Kevin talked about, which is number 2 again is your teachability index, which is your willingness to learn times your willingness to accept change. Then number 3 is training balance scale, which is 90% of your thinking and 10% action. Kevin talked about there's a balance to a training. So a lot of people, when they want to achieve success in their life, and this is the common trait that we learned from our parents, is go to school, go to college, work hard, and you're gonna make money. Kevin said is 90% of your thinking. Andrew Cardigan, so he teach a lot about like more the modern success, like the people who built America. So pretty much he talked about Andrew Cardigan. Andrew Cardigan was the one who actually paid Napoleon Hill to write the book, The Law of Success in 16 Lessons, which came out, the one, the watered down version came out, Think and Grow Rich. So Andrew said that in his life, every time he went through things, he made more money when he was in Scotland on vacation because he focused on his thinking. Because once you think it through, you can process it through your action. He says successful people don't work hard. They think, they create systems, they put things in place, staff, and that's what work hard for them. Success is not about working. It's about thinking. Once you think it through, you can process it through your action. And then he talked about the 4 basic. The 4th one is the way you process new information. And this is why a lot of people are not successful. And I didn't know this too, though. Like, I'm not like a person who I just woke up in the morning, I just knew that I studied these things. So like the way you process new information, the first phase is called unconscious incompetent. Unconscious incompetent means that you don't know what information out there exists. Then there's the second phase, which is called conscious incompetent. Conscious incompetent means you know the information exists, but you just don't know how to do it. Then there's conscious competent, which means you know the information exists and you're actually applying it. Then there's unconscious competent, which means now you're doing it on autopilot. You don't even have to think about it. It's just normal to you. So that's the learning phase that people go through no matter what you're learning in life. But when people don't know that, when they get to the conscious incompetence phase, they're like, oh, I know this, but I just don't know how to do it. They give up because they haven't even got to the conscious competence stage yet for them to know that they're applying it and they're actually doing it and getting some type of results to get to the unconscious state. You know, so that's the foundation. He talked about the 5th basic is master the basics. Like there's everything in life is about the fundamentals. It's not about just knowing all these techniques. Like you don't need to know those techniques. It's just the basic core principles will be able to help you achieve success. Just the foundation. Focus on the foundation and you'll be able to lay the bricks after bricks. So when I learned that from Kevin, it changed my whole perspective on life. Now, when I realized what I wanted, that's how I started watching Sam Evans, Ty Lopez, and all these successful people, because I wanted what they had. And I saw them achieving this, so I put myself in that environment. And when I got in the room, I started to touch my teachability index. High willingness to learn, high willingness to accept change. I'm like, I'm gonna listen to this, and I'm gonna blindly follow this, and I'm gonna listen to everything this guy has to say because he has more, he does way more than me, he has achieved way more than me in my life. I'm not gonna question anything. I'm gonna not gonna question, I'm gonna believe what he's saying, but I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna do this. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
And being that open allowed me to discover a lot in my life. So when I learned that from Kevin, my whole perspective on learning, trying to become successful evolved. Now I was able to learn things quick. Because when I was learning something and it was hard, I knew that I was still on the conscious and competent stage. I'm like, okay, I'm on the conscious and competent stage right now. I'm not at conscious competent. I know this exists, but I just don't know how to do it. I just need to get to the conscious competent stage when I'm applying it and I'm doing it. And then with a long period of time, you do it long enough, you'll get to that unconscious state. So I'm like, okay, as I keep doing this, I'm gonna get to that state. So number one recommendation is Your Wish is Your Command by Kevin Trudeau. Once you master those 5 basics and you actually internalize it, your life is your entire life is like gone. You're basically living whatever. If you want a Rolls Royce, you're gonna achieve that. Whatever it is that you want in your life, because I didn't believe, like my uncle used to take me to a Porsche dealership, and he used to be like, it was not like my real uncle. It was like basically like my rich uncle, this guy that I saw outside. I called him my uncle.
So like Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yeah, basically like Rich Dad Poor Dad. This guy, he was like, yo, he was like, you have a lot of potential. And he just took me, he had a Lamborghini in Minnesota. And then he would take me to the Porsche dealership. He was like, you see that price? How much is that 911? It's like 179,000. He's like, yeah. If you want to drive my 911, can you afford 179,000? So he used to show me this and put me in the environment and things like that. So, but what I'm trying to say is like, I was able to do those things because I studied those principles Kevin just taught me. And as I studied those principles, it just became a part of me where now I've been doing success principle for so long over time, reading books, and I just was able to achieve it and it just clicked. And then you're never gonna know too what's gonna make you successful. Mm-hmm. Because what made me successful can be different from the next person.
Yeah.
Everybody's success is relative to themselves and their focus. So it's like, this could be the biggest podcast right there. This just your show right here could be the biggest show in the world in the next 1 to 2 years. So it's just your focus. Whatever you focus on is gonna be successful. That's what people don't realize. They think like you gotta do so many different things. Just focus on one thing and you will achieve success.
You know, that's so true. That is so true, because I think a lot of us get easily distracted by so many different things, and then that's what gets you off track. Also, when you mention about who you're around, sometimes the people you're around can also cause the distractions as well if they don't understand what you're focused on. Yeah. I remember I was dating a guy like briefly where I was like, I have to edit something, so I can't meet up because I got to edit. And he was like, why are you always editing? I'm like, because I got to get this done. So yeah, focus and the people you're around makes a big difference. Boniface, I am so glad we had this conversation. This has been really thought-provoking. That's what I said. I wanted to have a thought-provoking conversation. Yeah. And then I also wanted to, I wanted to address those things that I've read online. People have said that there's been, that you've scammed them, and there's been some negative stuff.
And I'll say one last thing about that too. And the thing about it is like people have to realize, as you become more successful, there's gonna be critics. There's gonna be people that are gonna try to diminish your brand in any way they possibly can feel like they can. But it's up to you to feel like, to know yourself. That's why I tell people, know who you are. Be true to who you are. Because if you're not doing something ethical, if it's unethical, people who become successful and consistently become successful over time is because they're doing something that's right. So one thing is like, just focus, know who you are, and don't care what other people say about you, because you can't control everything that happens in your life. The only thing you can control is your day tomorrow, the next day you wake up, and then when you wake up, you achieve more in your life. So never really, and I always tell entrepreneurs this too, because I have a lot of entrepreneur clients, and they're like, anytime they promote their product online, they're like, people be like, it's a scam and things like that. I'm like, yo, block those noise out. Focus on selling your product, changing your family life. That's all you need to focus on. And this is number one reason why people don't even start businesses. Especially like people, they don't start businesses because they feel like things may happen and now they're feeling like, yo, people are gonna judge them. And I talked about this. Like, don't care because you can't please every single person you meet in your life. Just keep going, you know, because the right people are always gonna come and you're gonna grow your organization and you're gonna consistently grow. There's gonna be bad apples. Any business owner that you ever meet in your life, if you really study them long enough, you're gonna see something and you're gonna be like, oh wow. Every single person, it don't even have to just be a business, it can be a hotel.
Yeah.
It can be a hotel. Somebody could say, oh, I was at this hotel and the water didn't work. Oh, I was doing this and this didn't work. Every business, no matter what business it is, there's gonna be some type of criticism towards that business. So as my fellow entrepreneurs, keep going and don't care about what other people say. Be true to yourself.
How would you describe yourself in one sentence?
Wise.
And what do you want people to know about yourself, know about you, like 20, 25 years from now? What do you want people to say about?
He gived. One thing that I love, that's one thing about me. Anytime I'm around people, I give because I feel like it's a more obligation to give to people. Especially if you learn something over the time and it did something to you, you have a more obligation to give that and provide that to people. So one thing I want people to know me for is like, damn, he always give a lot.
Okay. And if somebody wants to connect with you, how can they connect with you?
All platforms, Boniface Ogunti. I'm active on Instagram a lot and also YouTube. You can go on my YouTube channel, Boniface Ogunti, and also you can follow me on Instagram as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I don't want to hold you up. Catch your flights.
Oh, we'll do a part 2 later. Let me go catch this flight. You are really good though. You're really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.